Hello and welcome to another update video on Bitcoin. We take a look at the short-term chart for Bitcoin here just on the 15-minute chart because, well, bigger picture was all discussed yesterday and the day before and really nothing changed there. What I wanted to talk a little bit about is this microstructure here. From an Elliott Wave point of view, we can make a case for lower prices overall still, yeah. So I am still short-term bearish as long as the market stays below 99,644. If we break above this initial resistance, I might not get directly bullish, but it is a signal that a larger bounce is unfolding. So basically the thesis is we should either test this resistance area or this one. The first one was already tested, so it's a nice small bounce. I'm not quite sure if it's going to be enough to reclaim 100K, but as long as we get around, roughly 99.5K, maybe we could reach that 50% retracement up there in an ABC structure in wave 4 if circle wave 4 is already unfolding, which I think it looks like a little bit. Then there is a chance to actually reclaim the 55-week exponential moving average, which is an important moving average, right? So we talked about that on the larger time frame chart. So if I, for example, take a look at our weekly, I actually said we look at the short term, but I want to show you, we go to our weekly chart, then you see where that 55-week exponential moving average is, roughly here. It's at around $99,200. So we broke below it, but as you could just saw, we could easily reclaim it if the market gives us a larger bounce. And that's sort of what I'm watching for. Not that this has to happen, right? But this would be a strong signal that the bulls are still there, right? They are not giving up yet. They're not giving up yet. So again, is this such a meaningful level? I mean, kind of, yeah. It's not necessarily a make or break point, but you could say it's a line in the sand, yeah. But it's not that, if we close one weekly candle below, it's necessarily all bearish. I've always said like 1 to 2 weekly candles below, I think would be another, let's say, warning that a bear market is actually unfolding. But I'm still not convinced that the bear market is here. I'm still not convinced. I'm talking about Bitcoin. I mean, for altcoins, it's a completely different story for many of them. Some never left the bear market, yeah. But on the Bitcoin chart, well, this will be an important weekly candle close. And on the nano structure chart here, or microstructures, I said to you in the last video earlier today that this here does look like a 3-wave move up. So again, that supports my idea that we probably haven't bottomed yet overall. At the moment, I mean, this is a 15-minute chart, right? So if we get above 99,644, this would give me 5 waves up, probably, right? Like that. Then we can be more bullish. At the moment, as long as we're not even breaking above initial resistance, from an analysis point of view, we could still see some further downside. But I still bought some BTC yesterday, as I made you aware, because the market is oversold. Yeah, it's oversold, daily chart, and I'm not trying to time the absolute low here. I think most of that immediate decline is likely done. We should get a larger bounce soon, which could, for example, either be a rally to all-time highs, which needs to prove itself, or a large B-wave bounce when this A-wave is done. Yeah, or depending on the structure now, it could also be a wave 4. But in all cases, this would be, hold on, where's the wave 4? Where's it gone? It's somewhere. I don't know, it's gone. I need to bring it back to the chart. No, it's going to be the wave 4 that, is kind of the same wave degree. Oh, up there. Oh, yeah, of course it's there. Oh, come on. Need more caffeine. There it is. This is the wave 4, of course. So, yeah. I mean, if we talk about the directly short-term bearish scenario, we should see a decline from here or here, yeah? And this is kind of the most directly bearish count. So even to consider something more bullish, I want to be very clear about it. We need a break above 99,644. And then we can talk about, okay, is it a B wave bounce? Is it a third wave or so? What I don't see at the moment, I want to be very clear about it, I don't see any short-term, long trade Elliott Wave setup, like a high probability 1-2 setup to the upside. Yeah, so I'm not trading on the long side here. So yeah, I think this gives you a good idea. I mean, what I think is likely is at least a larger wave 4. And I would actually prefer that because, as I just said, I don't necessarily see the evidence, the strong evidence that we're in a bear market yet. And some of it could just be a feeling, right? But that's just my opinion. Structurally, of course, we're still in a local downtrend, and the next larger bounce will be very, very important. So I'm still overall watching for the potential of another rally to all-time highs. But I've always said the top could already be in. I'm not someone, like many people out there are still, like, they believe in the so-called banana zone, right? That's not me, right? It's not at all. Not at all. So to be crystal clear, I think short term we could still go a little lower. Ideally, maybe we get a bounce into that resistance area though. And this is really our micro resistance area, yeah. But because we don't see over the weekend any impulse down from here, I don't see any clear impulse down. We might see here a little bit of volatility, maybe a push higher, right? That wouldn't change anything because the resistance area easily allows, also in circle wave 4, within this orange scenario, the market to bounce a bit while still being just a 3-wave corrective bounce. So yeah, only if we get 5 waves up, that's our signal for the trend change. I'm always looking for 2 things: 5 waves, yeah, and a break above resistance. Those are the 2 things that help us identify that a trend change is underway. And obviously, in a very simple form, if we look at the price structure, I mean, you clearly see that we are forming lower lows and lower highs still. So while I record this update, there isn't any strong evidence that a very meaningful low has formed. What we need to be aware of is that on the daily chart, however, and I go briefly to the daily chart before we wrap it up, on the daily chart, we can see that Bitcoin's RSI is oversold. Now, my personal rule is whenever the Bitcoin daily chart is oversold on the daily at 30, I buy. That can sometimes be a little less, sometimes a bit more, yeah, a bit less, bit more. Casual buying, that's me. It was my first purchase, I think, since March or so, or April. So yeah, the daily RSI, at some point it might stop working as an indicator, but the daily RSI has historically been one of the most reliable indicators on the Bitcoin chart. And then you might ask, okay, but what could it be from an Elliott Wave point of view? Well, it could easily be any of them, right? So it's not about timing the low here. If we go up directly, it might even be a 3rd wave. Well, I think that needs to prove itself. If we go higher, it could even be a B wave, but even that could reach all-time highs. If it goes a little lower, a little higher, a little lower, then this would be exactly what we've seen in previous corrections in this cycle. Could even lead to a 35% decline as we had it before here, where we had, yeah, low, high, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so it would, and the RSI played exactly the same thing here, played the same game, where it was already oversold in February, but then we got another low, right? Like the orange wave 5, to form a higher low on the RSI, then maybe a bullish divergence, and then we can go. But these are just the scenarios I'm watching for. Either way, in none of these scenarios, I have at the moment a confirmation that a meaningful low has formed. That's the update on Bitcoin. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Also, I invite you to join us on X for additional charts, updates, news, and much more. You can find the link in the comment section, and you get a lot of additional updates on Bitcoin and other charts here on X. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.